Hello everyone, welcome to Lukman IS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 5th November 2020. So let us see which are the important articles in today's The Hindu newspaper. Yes, so these are the important articles. So first article on page number 6. Yes, the context of the article, recently the Supreme Court has stayed the EC order, Election Commission orders to revoke the star campaigner status of Kamal Nath of Congress. So yes, this is what the article is discussing, this context here, that the election commission should be given let's say some innovative powers to curb any malpractices, election malpractices, and ensure free and fair elections. So the analysis of the article is very important from polity perspective in GS2. So what is given in the article? Yes. The Supreme Court stay on the revocation of status of former Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Kamal Nath as star campaigner for Congress. Okay, so brings to the fore the power of Election Commission of India and its role in ensuring clean campaign. Okay, so Mr. Nath earned ECI rebuke after distasteful personal remark about BJP women candidate while campaigning for by-election to Madhya Pradesh Assembly recently. So what is the provision in our model code of conduct here? So yes, the ECI has cited the clause in model code conduct that bars candidates from resorting to criticism of all aspects of private life not connected with the public activities of leaders and party workers. So citing this provision, the ECI had let's say revoked the star campaigner status. Why it is significant? We have to understand from the RPA provisions, like section 77 of Representation of People Act in 1951. Now this is the part of your syllabus in GS2 polity. Okay, Representation of People Act, a direct syllabus point, which relates to candidates' election expenditure, does leave it to the political party itself to decide who are its leaders and allow every party to submit the list of such star campaigners election. So ये star campaigners क्या होते हैं and what is the significance of designating particular candidate as a star campaigner? So this is the significance. However, it should be noted that the star campaigner status comes with a clear privilege. What is that privilege? The expenditure incurred on the campaign done by those from the list of star campaigners is not included in the expenditure of candidate concerned. Okay, so there are some limits put forward by the election commission on expenditure, campaign expenditure of that particular candidate. Now if that candidate is a star campaigner, there is no limit of, we can say that, expenditure, especially the campaigns, we can say that the expenditure incurred on campaign done by those star campaigners is not included in that limit. Okay, so this is the privilege here. In effect, an order of ECI revoking the star status is actually withdrawal of right to campaign without incurring electoral expenditure on candidate's account. Okay, so जो revoke किया गया है, right? So that is the star campaigner status and not rather the candidate is still let's say allowed to have expenditure but within the candidate's limits now. It stands to reason that ECI, in exercise of its general and plenary power of control and direction over the elections, ought to have such power to revoke the status of campaigner if there is apparent breach of campaign norms or model code of conduct. So it should be there. This is what the analysis it is talking about. After all, the star status ensures that some leaders can charter helicopters and travel extensively to cover more territory and constituencies without breaching any individual candidate's spending limit. So this is the privilege, we can say that, and this privilege is removed because of, let's say, violation of this MCC, provision of MCC. Okay, so even though the MCC or model code is not statutory, this is for prelims examination, very important, it has been generally recognized that election watchdog should have some means of enforcing its norms. So MCC is not statutory. Still, election commission should have some freedom and powers to enforce that model code of conduct because that is collectively adopted by all political parties. ठीक है, जो मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट है. In conclusion, it is indeed debatable whether the ECI has been exercising its powers in an even-handed way in recent years. Now we know that in 2019 general elections, before the elections, the campaigning, during that campaigning there was very much criticism of election commission about the ensuring free and fair, let's say, campaigning, and also the actions taken by ECI were criticized at that time. However, it is equally important that ECI's power to enforce poll norms and clean campaign is not unduly abridged. So this is very important. So we can say that further follow on this article, and these things will happen, because again this is somehow the Supreme Court has abridged the power of constitutional body. Okay, so let us have more analysis in coming lectures. बहुत सारे आर्टिकल आ सकते हैं अभी इस टॉपिक के ऊपर. Yes, because this is very important when we talk about both our constitutional bodies, Supreme Court as well as the Election Commission. Fine. Next, the fixing the rules of economy. The context of the article here, it is talking about the workers in economy should be empowered, they should be respected, and they should be given some legal powers, or we can say social safety nets in our economy, so as to have sustainable economic growth. Okay, this is what the article is talking about. Arun Maira, he writes very good article from social justice perspective. So what is given in the article? Empowering workers. India has income crisis. Incomes of people in the lower half of the pyramid are too low. The three solutions economists propose for this are: free up the markets, improve the productivity, and apply technology. Now these three solutions are discussed by the author here with respect to ensuring economic growth and development. So what are these three solutions? The economists say markets should be freed up for agriculture products so that farmers get higher prices, and freed up labor market to attract investment. Okay, जो ये पहला solution जो बोला गया. However, human rights must prevail economic consideration. Good markets enable smooth transactions between buyers and sellers of commodities. However, humans are not commodities like agriculture produce or minerals. Humans must not be put for sale to highest bidders, which was practiced in slave markets. So this is what the article is talking about. The humans should not be traded as goods and service. Even though we are talking about freeing up the market, basically freeing up the market, especially we talk about the freeing up the labor to attract more investment, means we are removing any social safety nets or legal provisions for protection of labor rights or workers' rights. Okay, so after this, what will happen to ensure more and more profits? The private sector, or let's say companies, will hire and fire, we can say, the workers on the basis of their own interests in terms of outputs, increasing outputs. So this is not, we can say that this focuses on taking human as commodities. So this should not happen. This is what second solution they are talking about: improve productivity. Improvement of productivity is key for economic progress. Productivity is the ratio of input at denominator and output at numerator. To improve the productivity, one can apply two broad strategies. They can take managerially more difficult route of increasing total output of the factory while maintaining the number of workers. This may require adding more machines and technology to supplement the capacity of workers. This is good strategy for capital rich enterprises and countries, right? So maintaining the same number of workers and increasing output, this will require more and more machinery and technology, and this is good for rich enterprises and capital rich countries. Alternatively, the employers can enhance their workers' skill and create culture of continuous improvement in the factory, whereby workers and managers cooperate to improve capability of their system. This is the strategy of total quality management that was adopted by Japanese companies, and that's why they were successful in 1960s and 70s, becoming the most competitive enterprises in the world. Total quality management, wherein the skills of the workers are improved so as to increase the output of the company. Humans are the only appreciating assets an enterprise has. They can improve on their own capabilities. The values of machines and buildings depreciate over the time as any accountant knows, whereas human beings develop when they are treated with respect and provided with environments to learn. So basically it is talking about third solution. They are talking about the applying of technology. So they are saying that more focus on technology is also not good. We can say that the machines depreciates over the time, rather the people tend to enhance their own skills to have more productivity, more output over the period of time. E.F. Schumacher, best known for his seminal idea Small is Beautiful, the book he has written on the same title, was an economist ahead of his time. He had warned there was a malaise brewing beneath the drive to westernize and technologize what you can say economies. The harsh lockdown of the economy in India to prevent the spread of COVID-19 caused the malaise to spill out for everyone to see. So we can say that the more focus on technologies in any company, this is somehow led to migrant crisis, reverse migration, because largely in India the workers are let's say involved in informal economy. 90% of Indian economy is focusing or let's say have informal economy, and therefore what happens is they are semi skilled or unskilled workers. Okay, so that's why we need to have upskilling or reskilling of these workers. Social contract, the concept, the good job implies the contract between workers and society. This is very novel concept, we can say that for us. The good job implies contract between workers and society. Why it is saying that? Workers provide economy with products and services it needs. In return, society and the economy must create conditions whereby workers are treated with dignity and can earn adequate incomes. So this is the two-way relationship between workers and society. At the same time, good jobs requires good contracts between workers and their employers too. And these contracts should be regulated by the government. Okay, this is important. Conclusion, the rules do not favor workers and tiny enterprise because they have too little power at present. Large enterprises employ fewer people within their own organizations, and therefore labor unions have lost their traditional support bases. This power balance must shift. That must shift towards the workers and not the entrepreneurs, or we can say that the capitalists. This is what the article is talking about, the idea of social justice, or we can expect the question or even the essay topic. Small is beautiful, very important topic. Earlier also I guess UPSC has asked this topic. Small is beautiful. So E. Schumacher, he is the economist who was motivated by the Gandhiji's ideas also. ये भी आपको पता होना चाहिए. Fine. Okay. Next article. The financial capacity of states is being weakened. So article is giving very good facts and how the central government is weakening the financial capacities of the states over the period of time now. Yes, weakening of states' financial capacities. So even though states drive the majority of countries' development programs, implement schemes and all, unfortunately the financial capacity of states is structurally being weakened. And this is let's say from the start of GST, when the GST was implemented, centers resource mobilization space vis-a-vis the states is far greater now. Okay, so what are these? Declining devolutions to the states. Some important facts, like prior to 2014, devolution of funds to states were consistently and cumulatively more than 13th Finance Commission projection. However, from the year 2014-15, there is decline in this devolution to the states. The percentage is given here, the facts, and this year this devolution declined to minus 37%. Shrinking the divisible pool. So why it is happening? Because of cess and surcharges levied by the union government, which are retained by themselves and not shared with the state government, because they are out of GST, or we can say the divisible pool that is given in our constitutional provision, center-state financial relations. Okay, so yes. So even we can say this is important fact. Last 5 years, cesses and surcharges soared from 9.3% to 15% of the gross tax revenue of union government. Okay, so GST shortfall, we can see that from the recent GST compensation cess conundrum between central and state government, and how there was discord between states and center regarding the kind of let's say compensation, the nature of methods to be adopted to have that compensation. अभी जो recently हमने discuss किया था, right? So this is what the GST shortfall it is talking about. Some facts here also given. At the same time, central grants are likely to drop significantly this year. For instance, they have given the annual grants to Karnataka and actual grant is very much less. Impact on states, due to all these factors, the revenue, states may experience fall of 20 to 25% of their revenues this year. Okay, and to overcome such extreme blows, they have to borrow at very high rate. Conclusion, states are at forefront of the development and generation of opportunities and growth. Strong states lead to strong India. The systematic weakening of states serves neither federalism nor national interest. So this is this kind of question can be asked, direct strong states leads to stronger India. ये जो statement आखिरी का हमने लिया है conclusion का, and analyze with reference to weakening of financial capacities of state governments vis-a-vis central government. So such kind of question can be expected in GS2 polity mains examination. Okay, so you can take input, some very quality facts are given, even those who are having PABAD optional, public administration option, they can take input from this article. Okay, next, US formally exits Paris Pact on curbing climate change. So yes, Paris agreements अभी काफ़ी पुराना हो गया है, 2015 से न्यूज़ में है, and it was signed in COP21 of UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So इसका जो Conference of Parties 21 पेरिस में हुआ था 2015 में, right? So after that what happened is the US pulled out of this agreement. United States formally left now Paris Agreement, the global pact 5 years ago to avoid the threat of catastrophic climate change. Okay, so here we had decided to restrict the increase of temperature worldwide well below 2 degrees Celsius. Okay, so yes, how does country leave Paris Agreement? This is important now for our examination, prelims examination, because prelims examination the UPSC has gone one step ahead in asking some let's say facts or information in depth. Okay, so Article 28 of the Paris Agreement allows country to leave the Paris Agreement and lays down the process for leaving. Article 28, the country can only give a notice for leaving at least 3 years after the Paris Agreement came into force. So when did the Paris Agreement came into force? On November 4, 2016, and therefore US was eligible to move the notice for leaving on November 4, not this year, this should be 2019, which it did. Okay, so yes, the withdrawal was not immediate, however it took effect 1 year after the submission of the notice, that is on 4th November 2020, that is yesterday. So formally after 1 year of this notice, now the US is we can say that left Paris Agreement. Okay, so this process is important, Article 28 of Paris Agreement. Basic information, और यहाँ पे क्या है कि INDCs are important. Intended nationally determined contributions. Here we can say that there is no distinction of different countries within particular groups like Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol में क्या था? Annexure 1, Annexure 2 countries were there and non-annexure countries were there. However, in Paris Agreement there is no such distinction. All countries are supposed to have nationally determined contributions and they should follow that. Fine? Yes. So some important captions and quotations from today's newspaper. That article which it talked about the importance of, we can say, labor rights. At the same time, this article, it is talking about fiscal federalism. Now this is very burning topic, fiscal federalism. Okay, so you can use that whenever the question is talking about fiscal federalism, or even if it is essay. Okay, so these were the important articles in today's The Hindu newspaper. For further information on editorial discussion classes or ED classes, wherein in-depth analysis of all these mains related articles is done by Ansari sir and team, you can contact Lukman IAS. Thank you.